One. Jason, here we are.
Good to finally be here, my man.
Absolutely. Yeah, either welcome to, welcome back. Not sure if you've caught some of the previous episodes, but excited to have you on Target Equality.
I am excited to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity. I think what you're doing here is great, and I'm just looking forward to being a part of it.
Awesome. Well, as a starting place, why don't you give the listener and viewers a quick little chronology about your background?
Sure. So I, New York City kid, grew up in New York and attended NYU. So played basketball and went to school at NYU, was a marketing major, had a really good career basketball wise. I played a bunch of sports growing up, but I feel like I always just had a longing to play basketball. So I wanted to be big time college athlete. And when the recruiting phase came around, I realized that there were other athletes out there that maybe were more qualified to play at a Division I level. So my parents early on pushed me to excel in the classroom, and I always prided myself on being a scholar athlete, prioritizing scholar over athlete. So NYU was kind of a unique experience because it was the first time in my life where the schooling kind of always came easy to me. I was always a good student. I had to work hard for everything I got in basketball. Some of these NBA guys will say things like, I just was blessed with this talent, or I was blessed with this body. And I had to work for everything that I got on the basketball court, but academically, school was never an issue. And then I got to college and it was flipped on the other side. So having some looks from Division I programs, playing Division III basketball wasn't as challenging as I thought it could have been. But academics were, on another level. So ended up graduating from NYU 2007 and embarked on this journey to push myself athletically to a point that I never realized I could get to. So had a chance to get on a team in fourth league Germany out of college. And it was kind of an opportunity that I just felt like if I do this now, I can just see where it goes kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And ended up turning that opportunity into a 12-year professional basketball career. So just wrapped that up. I played in 5 different countries for 12 years. So I played, started in Germany, fourth league Germany, made the jump to the first league shortly thereafter. So halfway about through that first season, I made the jump to the first league. Kind of just right place, right time. Opportunity presented itself, played really well, and played for the team I went to for 3.5 years, another team in Germany for 3 years, Turkey, France, back to Germany, Poland, and then finished in Romania. So had a chance to travel all over Europe. Definitely was one of the best moves I ever made, was just taking that chance. And, now that I'm in this era of what comes next, I feel like for me personally, I'm up for a challenge. And I just think that, basically where I've come from to where I'm at now, I feel like basketball has been like the guiding force in that world forever. But, you can't play forever, and I'm looking forward to what comes next.
Yeah, sure. So you strike me as a humble guy based upon what I've heard from talking to some of your coaches. So, yes, you played at NYU, but you were also a Division III All-American, correct?
Correct. So like I said, I was recruited by a couple of Division I schools in the beginning, and then they had other guys that filled those roles. I got recruited to play Division I football, but didn't get full scholarship, so that didn't pan out, and I just liked basketball better. So decided to go to college for academics, you could say. But always I didn't have to, let's say, push myself as hard on the basketball court as I had to in the classroom. And so it was so new for me to have to do that, that it just presented a whole new set of challenges. But it was something that I wanted to embrace. And, luckily I was able to stay fairly healthy throughout college. Didn't have any major injuries, and ended up having a pretty good career that propelled me to at least have a chance to play professionally in Europe, even if I started at a low level. But, once you get out there and they're not concerned about what school you went to, and if you can go out there and show and prove, then you have a chance to play at that highest level, and that was what I was able to do. And looking back, I mean, it was an amazing career. The guys would give anything to have a 12-year career like that, and to not really deal with any injuries.
Sure.
I felt pretty lucky. So
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, I mean, and then the other thing is your coach that I talked to, who coached you several years in Germany, said that you were awarded best center at was it one of the FIBA Cups?
FIBA Cup, correct. So we the highlight of my professional basketball career was 2010, where we won the FIBA Euro Challenge.
Wow.
There's not a lot of guys who get to say that they have won just a domestic title in the country that they're playing in, but let alone a European title all throughout Europe. So, yeah, he was my coach during that time, and that season and the following season, we competed in European challenges, and I was voted one of the best centers in the league that year. And that was like the highest honor I've ever received, and that was just a great feeling. We just had the 10-year anniversary of that championship team this past May, and a lot of the guys got together in a Zoom call like this, and we were able to kind of just reminisce. And yeah, that was one of the greatest moments that I had as a professional basketball player. Definitely.
I had to imagine that felt good. A pro amongst pros. And 12 years playing professional basketball. I mean, I know guys who have played professionally. I mean, that's not a short period of time. I mean, you've outlived many people who have, tested those waters. And I guess, how did you compensate for father time, if you will, and being able to uphold kind of a elite performance for as long as that you did?
So for me, more recently, since I retired, I've been able to talk to like the next generation, a couple my former high school, college coaches. They've kind of all reached back out to me to kind of impart some knowledge on some of these young kids, just about the longevity of my career and kind of what it took. And I went through a trajectory that is hard to explain, but for me, it was just about my overall health. So when I was younger, I felt like I didn't have to pay as much attention to recovery or to sleep or to stretching or to things like that. And as I got older and I realized that in order to play this long and to stay this healthy, it takes a certain type of discipline. And I started to just enact that in my day-to-day life. And these little habits just became built into my persona. That was just, every day I was the guy stretching after practice. I was there 15 minutes early to warm up. And it just became like he's over there doing his Jane Fonda kind of stuff. And the guys would, laugh or whatever. That was what separated me from a lot of the other guys, having that sense of discipline to be able to do that day in and day out. Days you didn't feel like it, the gym was freezing, coach was mad at you. It was just there were certain things that you had to do. And then another thing that I was kind of telling the next generation that I felt like I was able to enact in my life were the 3 C's. I feel like I was always confident. You have to have a level of confidence to play at that level for that long.
Sure.
You have to trust that you have done the work to this point. So when it's your time to perform, you've done that. The competitiveness, I felt like for me, it was always, if I wasn't competing against somebody else, on the team, you want to finish first in the sprints, you want to do all that kind of stuff, but you have to compete against yourself, try to get better every day. And staying coachable. I think for me, like as a pro, if I could give any advice to somebody else, it would be those things. But yeah, I think when I look back over the trajectory of my career, those are the things that allowed me to play at such a high level for such a long time.
I believe it. I mean, that's huge. Those 3 C's. Thanks for sharing that with me as well as everyone else who's viewing this. The biggest pitfall that I see with any salesperson who maybe struggles with hitting their numbers, Jason, is consistency.
Got it. That's another one.
It's the biggest pitfall. And it's what separates the, person who's barely finishing over their quota to the person who's blowing it out. Is what am I doing on every single call? How am I preparing before the game's even played? What's kind of aspects of being a student am I employing, whether it's about the product that I'm selling, the customer that I'm trying to sell to, the history of maybe, how this company has looked at software this type before, all of that stuff. And it's so easy in this technology sales world to just basically let your guard down and go, this time I'm not going to ask qualifying questions. This time I'm not going to uphold the process. This time I'm not going to set a boundary on my time. This time I'm not going to ask if there's anyone else, who needs to be part of this decision and conversation who's not here today. The list is ad nauseum. And the people that I've looked at as sort of great salespeople over my career, they don't waver. They just don't waver. And that to me, is sort of emblematic as to what you described about yourself as to how you were able to do it. The other thing that I'm just honestly just amazed by is you've had consistent feedback with everyone that I've talked to about you, who's coached you or who has employed you, about being a great teammate. Maybe this would be something that let's flip the script here, and you're gonna be the person that is gonna be teaching the viewers what goes into being a great teammate, because you don't just, in my opinion, you don't just play for 9 different teams over 12 years, knowing, and I know this because I played college basketball. It takes time to build trust. It takes time to build chemistry. How what goes into being a great teammate? Like, because there's a lot of people with a lot of talent, but there's not a lot of people who are great teammates.
And so I feel like in terms of just being a good teammate, it's being able to communicate with your teammates. You have to have that level of communication. So for me, the biggest thing that I did as an American and an import player is I tried to learn the language of the countries that I went to as fast as I could. I can say now that I'm basically fluent in German. I can right into speaking German right now. And I played there the longest, so 8 of my 12 years were in Germany, so that helped a lot. But little things, that is going to, I played in Romania towards the end of my career, and the young guys, I'm 15 years older than some of these guys. We had a 17-year-old on the team who, a young Romanian kid, doesn't know anything about America, doesn't know anything about New York, has all these questions, but you can tell he's not confident in his English. And so just being able to have him let his guard down a little bit. I'm the veteran on the team. I'm the old head, as they say. But if I can, have a conversation with him about where he grew up, what it was like for him, tell him more of my story from where I started to where I'm at now, and then you build that trust. So if you can communicate with your teammates, and I think each player is individual,
Sure.
As I got older, there were captains on the team who had to direct a message to the entire team. That's different than having a one-on-one relationship with your teammates and knowing that they can trust you to have their back, and you can trust them to have their back. So for me, that was the key. And I feel like being a communications major at NYU prepared me somewhat for that, but also just I have this, I would say, outgoing personality. I always want to immerse myself in whatever culture that I'm in. There were some guys who were comfortable just going to practice, coming home, playing video games, going to sleep. I wanted to, walk through the town. I wanted to see the city hall. I wanted to see what the city was made of. Talk to the actual people that lived in these towns, and it made the experience that much more enjoyable. But I think that all ties in with being a good teammate, helping people know that you're going to fight for them when it comes time to fight for them, have their back when it comes time to have their back. And yeah, for me, that was key in being someone that people wanted to be around and wanted to work hard for, knowing that I was going to work hard for them and that I always had their back.
Got it. Yeah, you strike me as a great storyteller too, as I'm just listening to you, which is an important quality to have as a technology salesperson. And it's actually supportive of testimony that I got from your coach at NYU and your coach that I talked to, who coached you the year that you won your championship. In fact, if I could share a quote, your coach said that you were the most articulate, best communicator he's ever coached. You were really good at following through when there's nothing to gain. You were a poster boy of anti-elitism because of your attitude. Yeah. And this is my favorite. If you were to survey 100 people in other industries who knew Jason in Germany, they would bet their life on him.
That means a lot. I hadn't heard that. And, but for me, I think coming from Division III NYU, I always had something to prove. So I played with that chip on my shoulder, but I was also happy to be there. So I never wanted to take that for granted. And I wanted that to show. And I think the fans that I played for, that always showed through. That like he's not one of these guys who had a chance to play in the NBA and ended up in Europe as just some backup plan and just didn't want to be there. For me, it was like every day was, this is an opportunity to show how competitive I am, how much I'm enjoying what I'm getting a chance to do. And that showed. And when we were getting results and winning games and winning championships, that, everybody was as happy as I was in those moments. And that was definitely a very special time. And I'm just happy that I got to play for such great coaches and have that experience with such great guys. There was nothing better than that.
I truly believe that, people, like yourself, like others in my industry who attain elite levels, they make a decision every day before they get vertical. Every single day. Who am I going to be? Comfort or character? And, I don't need to hear any more. You've already sold me. I just think that with your attitude combined with your skill set, it's impossible for you to fail. I'm totally comfortable saying that. And, I think on that note, I'm excited to see kind of where this, leads for you, Jason. And, I wish you all the best, and I appreciate your time today.
I much appreciate it as well. Thank you so much, Bennet.
All right. Take care.